Wentworth Avenue was already the dividing line between black and white Chicago. The expressway, 14 lanes wide and 12 miles long, would turn that invisible line into a physical barrier that no pedestrian could cross. Daley's neighborhood was protected. The Black Belt was walled in. Construction displaced thousands of residents. The Urban League estimated 12,000 black residents would lose their homes. The actual number, when combined with other urban renewal projects on the south and west sides, exceeded 81,000. Despite making up only 23% of Chicago's population, black residents accounted for 64% of those displaced. The first segment opened December 12, 1961. By December 1962, the full expressway was complete. And then, as if to make the wall's purpose unmistakable, the city stacked 28 high-rise buildings along State Street on the east side of the expressway in a 2-mile line from 39th Street to 54th Street. This was the Robert Taylor Homes, completed in 1962 and named, in a cruelty that almost defies belief, after Robert Rochon Taylor, the first black chairman of the Chicago Housing Authority, who had resigned in protest in 1950 because the city insisted on concentrating public housing in black neighborhoods rather than integrating it across the city. Taylor died in 1957, 3 years before construction began on the project that bore his name. He would have been appalled. The numbers were enormous. 28 buildings, each 16 stories tall, containing 4,415 apartments, arranged mostly in U-shaped clusters of 3. Designed for 11,000 residents, the complex at its peak held 27,000. At one point, 6 of the poorest census tracts in the United States, with populations above 2,500, were located within the Robert Taylor Homes. Approximately 95% of residents were unemployed, including non-working age children. 96% were black. Roughly 40% of households were headed by single women earning less than $5,000 a year. The buildings themselves were designed to fail. The walls were made of cheap drywall that could be kicked through. Burglars routinely broke into apartments by punching through the wall from a vacant unit next door. The elevators were mounted on the exterior of the buildings, exposed to Chicago winters, and they froze regularly. In 1972, a reporter described being trapped in a malfunctioning elevator that went up and down from the 1st to the 16th floor for half an hour without opening its doors. The breezeway design, originally intended to encourage neighborly interaction, instead became a gauntlet. Women were attacked in stairwells and elevators. In a desperate and misguided attempt at security, the CHA surrounded the development with barbed wire in 1974 and conducted police sweeps that treated every resident as a suspect. 3 gangs divided the territory: the Mickey Cobras, the Gangster Disciples, and the Black Disciples. They competed for control of specific buildings, using them as distribution points for heroin and later crack cocaine. The Chicago Housing Authority estimated that $45,000 worth of drug transactions occurred daily within the development. During one weekend, a single weekend, more than 300 separate shooting incidents were reported in the vicinity of the Robert Taylor Homes. State Street, the same street where Jesse Binga had built his bank, where the Stroll had buzzed with life, where Robert Abbott had printed his newspaper, was now a 2-mile corridor of concrete towers, where children grew up hearing gunfire the way suburban children heard lawnmowers.